don't need to plug in or anything. I'm just going to talk to the screen. Hey, so as you probably know, telling anybody who's not technical and certainly anybody who know about decentralization, very difficult to explain sometimes what Matrix is. You end up telling them, well, it's like email, yeah, but it's kind of better than email. Certainly, the one thing that they don't really get, anybody, is why. Oh, so thank you. Why is decentralization and self-hosting even a good idea? And how can we demo the fact that it works? So the demo that I have for you here is essentially what I want to do at conferences for the rest of the year. So we will have a table. We'll put a bunch of Raspberry Pis on the table. We'll run sign-apps on each Pi. Then we'll have a Federation fun going, you know how we do every day. And then we'll unplug one of them, and it won't work anymore because it's been unplugged. But the rest of the network will continue to function, and we will continue to show that off. So what I have here is, actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this up. All right, so.
High tech.
Can you see that this is connected? I'm now going to go and unplug a Raspberry Pi.
He will be back. I mean, this for people.
It's back to front because the camera picks it up.
I've got about 4 pixels for the whole of that screen, but I'm loving it.
So Riot really has disconnected, cannot connect to server any longer. So the idea being, I'm not going to finish the demo by plugging it back in and proving that Riot will reconnect and resync. So what the blockers for this were quite specific, actually. Oh yeah, good idea. The blockers for this were that you needed a separate host name for each box. In a conference environment, you can't guarantee what kind of connection you're going to get. So we've had to do several steps just to make this work. Oliver was actually super helpful. What we will do is have a 3G, 4G Wi-Fi dongle with a separate SIM card in order to guarantee a decent connection. We will also run a VPS and then just tunnel all the traffic through the VPS so that you're connecting to a single IP address, but actually those host names are just tunneling data to the correct location on the Pi so that we can do the unplugging demo. Hopefully that Pi is going to survive being unplugged a few times, but it's replaceable. So yeah, that's the demo that I want to do for conferences for the coming months. If people will have better suggestions or want to be involved in this, then please be in touch. But I think it's going to be a good way to show off what is decentralization, what is self-hosting, why is there a benefit to having this. So that's fun.
One of the things that's pretty hard to demo for Ben to demo here right now, that's nice about this demo is it's going to be very tactile, very physical. Yeah. People can plug and unplug as much as they want, and get real-time feedback and then see the backfill going on.
So the other thing is it will be really on the Federation. So you will be able to connect, make a new user account, connect to your user account on that particular Pi. It's just a quick way of getting people to sign up. Whenever we've done conferences before, having something tactile that they can sign up to there and then has been really valuable. Running a bot, which is what we did sort of last summer's conference season, it meant that people could actually interact live. So that was the plan. Thanks.
Thank you.
Cool.
Okay, Kader, and we've got a community demo. You have the floor.
Okay, this is where it all breaks, of course. Also, this is where I don't even get as far as managing to share my screen without Jitsi crashing. That's good.
Yes.
Good.
Cool. Okay, so I've got 2 things. One is a bunch of changes that we got to the Slack app service. The first one has conveniently been demonstrated for me while I'm sitting here, which is when you get messages from Slack apps, they now come across the matrix correctly with the display name and the avatar and everything set, which they did before because Slack bots and Slack users have irritating differences in the Slack API. You can also, so what Halfshot implemented was an event store a bridge library, which means that the app service keeps track of event IDs on both sides. So this meant we can do things like delete messages bidirectionally. He says, hopefully. Oh no, I know. You know why? Because I didn't make the Slackbot mod, so it didn't have permission to redact the event. Let's try that again. So also editing. Interestingly, Slack doesn't show the edited for bot users on the Slack side, so there's no indication that the matrix message is being edited on the Slack side, which appears to just be a weird limitation of Slack. But it does, if you're an actual Slack user, it shows the edited. Reactions also work, although they only work once from Matrix to Slack, because we have to send the reaction to Slack as our bot user. So if 100 people plus one message on Matrix, it only comes up with 1 + 1 on Slack. But the other way works fine, because we can send as many reactions with as many app service users as we like in the other direction. So, the other thing that works is if you start a thread on Slack, it shows up as a reply on Matrix, and if you respond to the reply, it comes into the thread, and also works if you start it the other way, comes through as a reply. Interestingly, it always shows the bot avatar in the reply. Why did that just reload? It always shows the bot avatar here, not the avatar we set from Slack, from Matrix, which is strange, but hey. Basically, this is just a list of things that has annoyed me about the Slack API while doing this. Also, all of the edits and stuff, also reactions, etc., also will work if you do them in a thread. The other thing that I found bugs in while testing this demo earlier is I implemented plain text mentions mainly for like the Android client doesn't send pills. So if you send somebody's display name on the Matrix side, it gets converted into an actual mention on the Slack side. The other thing that and I have been working on is a bot we have called PlacardBot. We made it for a conference that we run, where we've had repeated arguments about which chat platform over the last few years. So that did both. So this is a test user account. And we've made it so that the bot kind of links the two together. So if you join community on Matrix, at some point in the next minute, the bot should message me, because we have to poll for users in communities. But you can do things like issue commands on Matrix, which will create a new room, set the alias, set the name, set the topic, bridge it to Slack, create the Slack channel, he says, hopefully. It probably has created the Slack channel, but won't have invited. Slack works well. It's turned up here. It takes a while to go through and set all the state events before it sends me the invite, but it will. So this has now created a room, added it to the community, set up the bridge. and the bot has invited me on my other user account. So when you accept the invite from the bot, or when the bot sends you a message, it sends you a message telling you about like the conference setup and what to do. It has. It also listens to create channel event here. If you create a channel on Slack, it will do the bridge dance. And if you send it, you can configure it to invite you, or you can ask it to invite you to all of the rooms in the community. So it will iterate through all the rooms in the community and send me invites. And you can also tell it to automatically invite me to all new rooms that get added to the community as time goes on. I think I've made my bot sad now. I made it do too many things at once. So it's sending, oh yeah, I'm just going to leak my Slack tokens now. That's fine. It's sending the link commands into the admin room for the app service to link the two rooms together. And it also posts into general when you create a room so people can see what rooms are being created. I think that's it. Check first. Yeah. So yeah, it's gone through and invited me to all the rooms that exist. Yep, I think that's it.
Cool.
Awesome.
I didn't know quite what I knew it was a demo of the Slack bridge, but I didn't quite know what the scope was. That was that was fantastic. Thank you.
Comprehensively all the features.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Okay. Last but not least, we've got Kai. Is Kai on the?
Hope so. No, rebooting. I think the Jitsi might kick them off.
Okay.
Possibly.
Let's give them a minute.
Yeah.
Sorry that we're running a bit late, folks. Hi from Amandine and Tony.
Anyone got any last minute demos they didn't realise they wanted to give?
We're trying to get Dendrite federating with Dendrite, and we ran into a few issues, but
Oh, that would
we
be
know
cool.
what to fix now.
We spent the last hour or so trying to get Dendrite to federate with something.
Yeah, well, it joined on Wednesday.
It has done in the past, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was a demo like a couple of years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
The spec has changed.
Oh, that's good.
Any luck? Let's actually don't know if
Popshot, it might be worth just giving a little overview to people who don't know
Oh,
what's Kai been doing. Like,
I'll take
what's this demo going to be about?
Yes, Kai is a GSOCer who came to us during the GSOC period, and they're doing a reliable bridges thing. Reliable bridges is basically bridges but with errors. So previously we have issues with bridges, like you came to me 2 days ago, I think it was, said my Gitter bridge isn't working, and I had to go through the logs and debug it. Now the point of this whole project is to make these visible to clients. So if your bridge fails to bridge you, which it should never do, but if it doesn't, it should at least tell you that your message hasn't gone through, so you can hit a button and retry it. What Kai is doing is adding this to the spec, adding this to the bridges, adding this to Riot, which is quite a big process, but it's essential to people trying to use bridges just to actually know if it goes wrong, why it's gone wrong, how you can rectify the problems. So we've gone through a few things. We've added PRs to the bridge SDK, so people can actually implement it in their own bridges. I've gone through and implemented it on the actual bridges themselves. Kai's gone through and done it on the Riot SDK and all the other bits. And they've also together written a spec, which you all should be going through and reviewing yourselves. And at the end of that, hopefully we'll have reliable bridges at the end of it. Or at least if we don't have reliable bridges, we can debug what's actually gone wrong with them and have more support tickets and things appear. So it's
does it per room?
Yep.
Does it do it per bridge as well? Or sorry, does it per message? Does it do it per room?
It does per message, per room. How do you mean per
So
room?
right now, if you were to send a message, it wouldn't get through.
No, that's a future spec thing.
Okay.
And there's also things like temporary failures is another thing. So if it's slow, that's a thing we've got to look into as well. So that'll be like an EDU type thing, but there's all sorts of like, this is the bare minimum. If your messages fail, send this, and then future specs will implement more things on top of that. That is basically Reliable Bridges in a nutshell. I'm hoping I can find it, Kai, because I don't actually have the demo on my PC. That's all good. If not, we can do it next.
If it's not here,
yeah,
it's on this quarter past.
Yeah, we can
suggest we punt it for next time.
Yeah, we can do it.
Okay, sorry for running late, everybody. Thanks, Kidder, for guesting, and thanks everybody for hanging around.
Bye bye.
Bye.